You are listening to Digging In Podcast, presented by Rooted Wealth Advisors.
Welcome back to another episode of the Digging In Podcast. I'm your host, Kinch O'Kelley, helping you get those questions answered to and through retirement. Today, back by popular demand, I'm joined by the man behind the matrix, the man with all the numbers, the man who looks good in the Jamaican sun, Jackson Sheputis. How you doing, buddy?
Good. What's up, Kinch? Excited to be here.
Hey, it's Friday. We're living the dream here.
It is. Living the dream. I got out from behind my computer screens and excited to do something a little different today.
For those of you that don't know, I have to pry Jackson from behind his desk every time to be on the podcast. True. It's very true. It's very true. You're deep in the numbers, working on portfolios, working on adjustments, making trades.
Locked in is what we like to say.
Yeah, just locked in. So I'm glad you could spare a few minutes to talk to us. I had some questions for you. Some things have changed as we roll into the new year, and I'm hearing some stuff floating around about the Secure Act 2.0. Can you enlighten me on what it is and how it affects our clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Secure Act 2.0 is a set of new laws that was just passed in Congress's entire budget that they passed at the end of 2022. It was signed into law just in that week in between Christmas and New Year's. So it now is official. And in that bill that they passed, there was hundreds of different items, but a few of them specifically really relate to what we're looking at as far as retirement planning and different limits and rules that affect the way that you can save for retirement. So I can go through a few of those with you. The biggest one that we've seen that is effective immediately is contribution limits on a lot of common retirement accounts, mostly IRAs, Roth IRAs, and 401ks have all been increased immediately. So for this year, 2023, in the past, or in 2022, the limit that you could contribute to an IRA or a Roth IRA in a year was $6,000. That's what it's been for the past few years.
Is that for individuals?
For an individual, $6,000 to an IRA or to a Roth IRA. Starting this year, it's $6,500. So that's a nice little bump up. It gives you a chance to save more money for retirement. If you're going on the traditional side, a chance to defer more income. If you're going on the Roth side, a chance to build up more tax-free savings down the road. And then also, if you're over 50 years old and you qualify for that catch-up contribution, you still get that extra $1,000. So now your limit, instead of being $7,000, is $7,500.
Okay, so they just up the cap across the board for everybody.
That's right, and they did the same thing with 401ks and 403bs. If you're in a workplace plan, the limits went up as well. They were $20,500. Now they're $22,500. And if you're over 50, it's $30,000 now.
Okay. It seems like, $500 maybe doesn't sound like a lot of money, but over the course of like the contribution with the compound interest could make a big jump down the road.
Exactly. It'll add up over time, and hopefully they continue to raise those limits over time with inflation. But yeah, if you have the means to, we definitely recommend trying to hit those limits on those accounts.
Now, is that the only thing from the Secure Act 2.0 that is really affecting people in or looking at retirement?
Not at all. There's far too many things to even go into just in this little episode here we do today. But another one that is a major immediate change that we saw is the RMD age has changed. So in the past, the RMD age, which is required minimum distributions, it's when the government tells you that you need to start taking money out of your retirement accounts. It was always 70 and a half for the longest time. When they passed the first Secure Act here a few years ago, they raised that age to 72. And so I think people were just now getting used to that new age. 72 is the new rule, 72. And what we have changed to now is they've upped it again to 73. So this is a good change because what it means is that's one extra year that if you don't want to take money out of your retirement account and pay the taxes on it, you don't have to. So anyone who turns 72 this year in 2023 will not have to take a required minimum distribution. They will have to take one next year when they turn 73, and they've already built a plan over the next 10 years. They're going to raise that age to 75.
So this really is a benefit to when our advisors do workshops and they're sharing tax buckets, right? This is a big benefit from getting money from bucket 1 and bucket 2 over to bucket 3, right? It buys you an extra year. Is that what I'm understanding?
Exactly, because the way it is set up, once you hit RMD age, you will have income whether or not you need it, because you have this money saved in your tax-deferred bucket. And once you're that age, the government says, okay, time to start taking some of this out. Every year it starts at between 3 and 4% of your account and grows every single year. And once you start doing that, you're going to have income for the rest of your life. But because of this change, you now have an extra year when you potentially might have very low income. Maybe it's Social Security, maybe it's a pension, maybe it's some small withdrawals. That gives you more of a chance to do some more complex tax strategies that'll help you out down the road.
That's awesome. And I realized I was talking about an illustration that our advisors share at workshops that isn't on screen. So bucket 1 is taxable, right?
That's right.
And bucket 2 is tax deferred, and bucket 3 is tax free. So it's moving. It's where those accounts lie is basically what bucket it's in. It's all in Zach's book.
That's right. That's right. Read the retirement roadmap.
Read the retirement roadmap. So those two changes, upping the 401k, upping the RMD age. Anything else we need to be made aware of?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's quite a few. Another one that I think is important to note, a lot of younger people are concerned about putting money into their retirement accounts because they're worried about the penalties that might come if they need to access that money early. There's a new rule that is going to allow a penalty-free withdrawal once a year if it's for an emergency purpose. So I think that's a really good change that's going into effect. Basically just saying, hey, they don't want people saving for retirement and then using the funds for just anything. But if it is for an emergency purpose, you can take that money out, not worry about having to pay a penalty. There's also one other one that I think is really interesting that isn't going into effect right away, but it's something that you should keep an eye out for down the road, is that they've set up a group to create sort of a retirement account registry that's going to be a nationwide thing. I assume it's going to be an online website that you can go to that's going to link all workplace retirement account providers. And the point of that is that there's so many people out there that maybe have an old 401k from an old job that they had 10, 20, 30 years ago that they've completely forgotten about and wouldn't even know how to track it down, right? Maybe the company doesn't even exist anymore.
Maybe they've moved a couple times.
Maybe they've moved, right? We see that with retirement plans, move from one company sponsor to another company sponsor. What they're working on setting up now, and I hope that they're able to launch this successfully sometime soon, is that you're going to be able to go to one central location, to a website somewhere, type in your personal information, and it'll show you, here's all your retirement plans that we have in the registry.
And this is government controlled?
Yes, it'll be through the government. It is not something that exists right now, but it's something that they're setting up.
That's cool on that horizon to be able to look forward to something like that, because I know just in personal experience, people that have moved around different states or different jobs or something like that, I've heard of that. Like, oh, didn't realize I had this plan from the place I worked at 30 years ago.
Right. I mean, we talk about the junk drawer analogy, right? So many people have the retirement savings junk drawer where they've got a few accounts here, a few accounts there. They don't even know what's what. And part of what we do is trying to dig through that. And this is going to make our job easier too, because we can help a client sit down and just walk through this registry and see what they're missing out on.
That is very cool. That is very cool. I also like that emergency withdrawal rule, especially having to take advantage of it myself this past year. It would be nice if, that was retroactive, but life events happen and that's just the way it goes. But
it's nice that, there's so many changes going into effect all the time that sometimes, we're always keeping an eye out for, what's coming down the road that might hurt us, but it's also good that some of these changes can help us out as well.
It feels like all the changes you talked about today are positive impacts. Are there any negative impacts we should be aware of?
Not particularly. There are some rules about if your income is over a certain limit, there's actually a rule forcing part of your 401k contributions going to Roth now, which there's actually a lot of benefits to. The only downside of it is it limits your ability to defer all those taxes, because what the government's trying to do is raise their tax revenues now. So that's another one to keep an eye out for if you're over those income thresholds, is kind of how the government wants to tax your 401k contributions. But that's kind of a positive and a negative.
Yeah, I could definitely see it being perceived as a negative because it is the government stepping in and telling you what you have to do at a certain income level. But it sounds like it's a high enough income level that it doesn't affect maybe your average person.
I believe it'd be 24% tax bracket and above, I believe.
So we're getting up there, right? We're getting up there in the tax bracket. So it would affect some of our clients, but definitely not all of them. Definitely something to be aware of. That's awesome information on the Secure Act. Anything else you have to add about it?
No, I mean, there's a lot of changes out there. There's this bill had hundreds of parts. So if anybody has anything specific that they want information on, I mean, feel free to give our office a call.
That's right. Call our office. Talk to the guy behind the play. Not that Jackson wants to talk to everybody, but it is nice to be able to share maybe proactively with the clients about like what's coming down the road. Hey, these changes are taking place now. I like that as part of our commitment to 2023 being more service-minded, right? And being able to share with people some of the research and information you've done ahead of time. Maybe we'll be able to share some of that in another episode about maybe what planning for 23 looks like and how things have maybe changed with interest rates or something like that coming down the pike.
Absolutely. We always have our eye on that stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today, man. I know your time's limited. I'll let you get back to your numbers. That'll do it for us today. If you want to talk to Jackson about those planning needs, feel free to call 815-918-4727. Make sure you request a copy of Zach's book, Your Retirement Lifeblood. I know the guy. We might be able to get you an autographed copy. That number again is 815-918-4727. Maybe we'll have Jackson autograph it too. What do you think?
Anytime.
All right. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time, keep digging in.
This was Digging In Podcast, presented by Rooted Wealth Advisors.